Here we are again looking in the book of Genesis. Today we'll be in Genesis chapter 33 and 34. If you're following along with us in the reading, and yesterday we did 31 and 32, where Jacob is on his way back to see his brother Esau for the first time in many, many years. And so let's pick up in verse 1. Then Jacob looked up and saw Esau coming with his 400 men. So he divided his children among Leah, Rachel, his two servant wives. He put his servants' wives with their children out in front. Leah and her children next. Rachel and Joseph last. 3. Then Jacob went ahead. As he approached his brother, he bowed down on the ground 7 times before him. 4. Then Esau ran and met him and embraced him and threw his arms around his neck and kissed him, and they both wept. Not the greeting that Jacob expected to get. Time has a way of changing things sometimes, helping us see things in a different direction. 5. Then Esau looked at the women and the children and asked, "Who are these people with you?" "These are the children of God. These are the children God has graciously given me, your servant," Jacob replied. 6. Then the servants' wives came forward and their children and bowed before him. 7. Next, Leah and her children came and they bowed before him. Finally, Joseph and Rachel came forward and bowed before him. 8. And what were all the flocks and herds I met as I came? Esau asked. Jacob replied, "They are a gift, my lord, to ensure your friendship." 9. My brother, I have plenty, Esau answered. Keep what you have for yourself. 10. But Jacob insists, "No, I have found favor with you. Please accept a gift from me. And what a relief to see your friendly smile. It is like seeing the face of God." 11. Please take this gift I have brought you, for God has been very gracious to me. I have more than enough. And because Jacob insists, Esau finally accepted the gift. 12. Well, Esau said, "Let's be going. I will lead the way." 13. But Jacob replied, "You can see, my lord, that some of the children are very young, and the flocks and the herds are very young too. If they are driven too hard, even for one day, all the animals could die." 14. Please, my lord, go ahead of your servant. We will follow slowly at a pace that is comfortable for our livestock and our children, and I will meet you at Shur. 15. All right, Esau said, but at least let me assign you a young man to guide and protect you. Jacob responded, "That's not necessary. It's enough for you to receive me warmly, my lord." 16. So Esau turned around and started back to Shur the same day. 17. But Jacob, on the other hand, traveled to Sackcloth. There he built for himself a house and made a shelter for his livestock. That is why the place is called Sackcloth, which means shelter. 18. Later, having traveled all the way back to Paran, Jacob arrived safely at the town of Shechem in the land of Canaan. There he set up a camp outside of town. Jacob bought a plot of land where he camped from the family of Hamor, the father of Shechem, for 100 pieces of silver. 20. And there he built an altar and named it Eloah Israel. 34. One day, Diana, the daughter of Jacob, and Leah went to visit some of the young women who lived in the area too. But when the local prince of Shechem, son of Huran the Havite, saw Diana, he seized her and raped her. 3. But when he fell in love with her, and he tried to win her affection with tender words, he said to his father Haran, "Give me this young girl. I want to marry her." 5. Soon Jacob heard that Shechem had defiled his daughter Diana, but soon his sons were out in the field herding his livestock. He said nothing until they returned. 6. Herman, Shemurk's father, came to discuss the matter with Jacob. Meanwhile, Jacob's son had come in from the field as soon as they had heard what had happened. They were shocked and furious that their sister had been raped. Shechem had done a disgraceful thing against Jacob's family and something that should have never been done. 8. Herman tried to speak with Jacob and his sons. "My son Shechem is truly in love with your daughter," he said. "Please let me marry her." 9. In fact, let's arrange other marriages too. You give us your daughters for our sons, and we will give you our daughters for your sons. 10. And you may live among us in the land open to you. Settle here and trade with us, and feel free to buy property in this area. 11. Then Shechem himself spoke to Dinah's father and brothers. "Please be kind to me and let me marry her," he begged. "I will give you whatever you ask." 12. No matter what dowry or gift you demand, I will gladly pay it. Just give me the girl as my wife. 13. Since Shechem had defiled their sister Diana, Jacob's sons responded deceitful to Shechem and his father Hamor. 14. They said to him, "We couldn't possibly allow this because you're not circumcised. You would be a disgrace for our sister to marry a man like you." 15. But here's the solution. If every man among you will be circumcised like we are, 15, 16, then we will give you our daughters, and we'll take your daughters for ourselves. We will live among you and become one people. 17. But if you don't agree to be circumcised, we will take her and be on our way. 18. Herman and his son Shechem agreed to their proposal. 19. Shechem wasted no time in acting on this request, for he wanted Jacob's daughter desperately. Shechem was a highly respected member of his family. 20. And he wanted with his father Hamor to present the proposal to the leaders of the town gate. 21. These men are our friends, they said. Let's invite them to live here among us and trade freely. Look, the land is large enough to hold them. We can take their daughters as wives, and they marry ours. 22. But they considered this here and became one people with us only if our men are circumcised just as they are. 23. But if we do this, all their livestock and possessions will eventually be ours. Come, let's agree to their terms and let them settle here among us. 24. So all the men in the town council agreed with Herman and Shechem, and every male in the town was circumcised. 25. But 3 days later, when their wounds were still sore, 2 of Jacob's sons, Simon and Levi, who were Diana's full brothers, took their sword and entered the town without opposition. Then they slaughtered every male there. 26. Including Herman and his son Shechem. They killed them with their swords. They took Diana from Shechem's house and returned to their camp. 27. Meanwhile, the rest of Jacob's sons arrived, finding the men slaughtered. They plundered the town because of their sister and had been defiled.
I have to go back to school. I forgot to take this.
They seized all the flocks and the herds and the donkeys, everything they could lay their hands on, both inside the town and outside in the fields. 29. They looted all their wealth and plundered their houses. They also took all their little children and wives and led them away to captivity. 30. Afterwards, Jacob said to Shum and Levi, "You have ruined me. You've made me stink among all the people of the land, among all the Canaanites and Perizzites. We are so few that they will join forces and crush us. I will come to ruin, and my entire household will be wiped out." 31. But why should we let him treat our sister like a prostitute? They resorted angrily.